Hi, it's Anne, and thank you so much for dropping by. We are going to be doing a fun little embellishment today that takes practically no supplies at all. The only supplies you're going to need if you wish to do this are very thin strips of paper. And these are flyers, the grocery store ads that come every week in the mail. Just cut into a couple of half-inch strips. These are dictionary pages. These are pages of a map, and this is an old book page. I used very thin paper for reasons that you will soon see. It's a little fiddly to begin with, but let's just get started. These are I first saw these on Pinterest, I don't know, a week or so ago. And I started fiddling with it a little bit because I started thinking it might be a fun embellishment for a junk journal. And what we're going to be doing is braiding 4 strips of paper together. And the key I've found after practicing this a little bit is to join 2 pieces of paper. And these are both those grocery store ads, joining them at a right angle. And so my grid comes in very handy for this. And then I'm going to take contrasting paper and also glue it perpendicular to itself. And let's see, I think I'm going to take care to make them both right side up. And these are, at first I thought, they're not really going to be very useful. They're just going to be little embellishments, which is also fine. That is also fine. But the more I'm kind of playing with them, the more I'm thinking, yeah, they could actually have some actual utility if you treat them correctly. So we're going to get to that. This is very fiddly to begin with, but it gets a lot easier. So all we're doing here is we're putting our 2 L-shaped strips, make certain I'm in can frame here, and I do want to anchor it down, so I'm just going to use a little bit of washi here. If your hands are steadier than mine, you might not need these, but I'm filming this on a Sunday and I've had a lot of coffee today. So these are just, excuse me, nested together here with those V's just, nestled in. I'm going to take the outside strip and I'm going to line it up here even with the strips on this side. And I'm going to, once it's nice and even, it forms its own angle down here, and I fold that down. I'm going to do the same on the other side. You don't have to worry, if you fold it like this, your angle's going to be off. Just make certain that you're nice and even, just parallel to the strip next to it. And now I am going to reach in here and take out this washi because it's going to be okay there. And the more you go along in this, the easier it gets. Now I'm just going to do the same thing again. I have inked on either edge and either side of these strips when you're practicing. Don't bother to get your fingers all inky, but I think on the final product it does make it nice when they're inked. Okay, so this one, the dictionary page is right next to the grocery store ad, and just fold that down, and we just keep going. The right side and the left side, the right side and the left side. Nice and even. And one thing you'll find, because this is very thin paper when it's very easy to fold, but also it's not going to take up a lot of space on a journal page. And you can see that these side edges are generally going to be pretty straight. Doesn't matter if they're just a little bit off, but like anything, the practice does make perfect with this. I haven't made that many of them. I think I've made 3, but I've learned each time. Go. And I chose this grocery store ad just because there was a lot of color in it, and you know, some little bits of interesting imagery. I don't normally use a lot of grocery store ads in my junk journals, although I certainly have. But I don't tend to use them a lot. But I think they're nice for this particular project, again, because of their thinness. Whoops, did I? Yeah, it's this one. I got to chatting and I lost track of which side. But because they're thin, they're easy to fold, and they just have interesting little pops of color. You know, you look at them and you're going to be able to tell that they're from an ad, but it's an interesting way to treat them. It kind of makes me think of, do you remember when the kids used to make, they used to braid gum wrappers and stuff together? I somehow remember that from the 90s when my own daughter was little. I was not a good braider, you know, even though I was a mother of a young girl. I was not a good braider. I never could do the French braids or anything like that. Okay. That's not going to quite meet there, so we're going to end it there. And I'm just going to anchor it down with just a couple of dabs of glue. And then you'll see how easy it will be to finish off. There we go. And just take out some of your snips. Snip this off. So we have this sweet little piece of braided paper. Now, I thought it was adorable when I saw it on Pinterest, but what I realized when I did it IRL is that it's really flimsy. You know, it could fall, you know, it's got lots of exposedness. And that bothered me a little bit. I thought that would not be practical at all to put into a junk journal. But what if we encased it in, say, some tissue paper? And I am pulling out a little piece of tissue paper. Let me see if this kind will work. I have normal tissue paper sitting around, but this is a piece that was stacked, that was from an art book. You know, sometimes they have a little fly leaf that'll be over the artwork. And I'm just using glue stick, nothing special. And we're gonna, this is gonna in effect laminate this little braided paper. Fold it over like that. These are actually reversible, so I probably should have looked on the other side to see if that was the side I wanted to have sort of function as the right side. And the only reason this would be the wrong side is because I have the seam here, but that'll do. And just trim that carefully here. And you can see how the tissue paper really lets all the imagery on the piece come right through. but it gives it some more stability. It encases all of those loose kind of floppy edges. And it does give it just a tad more thickness, but not so much that it's going to be obnoxious in a journal. The glue adds a little bit of strength as well. And if you have really bright tones in your scrap paper, it's going to mute that down just a little bit. This is it. I'm going to ink these edges. And this is ready to put into a junk journal as a page edge. I think it would be super cute. Again, it would not add bulk. You could use it as the edge of a pocket. Let's say we were going to use this page as a pocket. In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and do that. I think shall I keep that Nabisco there? A tiny little bit. I think I will do so. And it's going to be kind of understated, but somehow intriguing on top of this old book page. Kind of a different way to add a little visual accent. And because you've glued everything down, it's not going to be harmed at all if you cut that point off. So there's a little pocket. It's so flat, you could use it as an embellishment on a journaling card too, and it's not going to impede your writing space at all. Oh, I think this is cute. You could put a little label or something on there if you wanted to, but it just is a quick and easy way to fold your paper, to combine it in an interesting way. Let's do another one, shall we? I have another idea for how we might encase this one. Take care of my... All right. With this one, I think I'd like to use, the maps. I have some maps and some slightly larger print-sized text here. So again, I'm going to line this up on my grid, and maybe I'll bring you a little bit closer here. And yep, pointing the right way, just a little dab of art glitter glue there, but that 90-degree angle is going to be important in the final formation. That one, and where's the map? Got a little bit of Trinidad and Tobago there. And this map page is nice and thin, and the thinness does make it a little fiddly to work with initially, but you could see how easy it was to get going with once we began. All right. Anchor these down. Just a little bit here. And I think I'm going to do it on this side this time. Well, no, I don't want to get into the folding area. I'll come down like this. Those are going to be removed fairly quickly anyway. Well, come on, pin. There we go. Okay, get my other strips out of the way. I kind of went crazy cutting strips for these because I think I would like to make quite a few more. All right, let's begin the braiding, shall we? I don't know why I never learned how to French braid my daughter's hair. I'll have to ask her if she feels deprived. I'm sure I could have learned. I wanted to learn, but maybe it just wasn't high on the priority list. I hate to say that because it probably should have been. I'm going to put another tiny little dab of glue just because this is the first time these two guys are meeting here. And I don't think that's necessary to do with every course of the braid. But I noticed when I was doing the other one, it was kind of separating there a little bit. So anyway, let's go with the map. And the map has different colorations on each side. I did look for something that had something interesting going on both sides, but it's certainly, I like it that it's not identical, but it's still colorful. Coax it down there just a little bit. It just, honestly, it's so easy to do. Just fiddly because you've got 4 parts, but you can do this. Believe me, if I can do this, and I'm a non-French braider, which should have been an immediate disqualification for me to doing this, but yet here I am. I tried it also with scrapbook paper. Lot, I mean, certainly foldable. You had to give it some more oomph with the folding. It made a nice looking braid. I'll show it to you in a moment. I think I have it. Oh, I'll tell you what. Why wait? Here's one I made out of scrapbook paper, and it has a lot more heft, and I put a little bit of backing on that because this is one I think that I could use as a belly band. Um, I wanted to cover the back so that nothing would catch. The others are maybe just a little too flimsy to use as a belly band, but anyway, the scrapbook paper is certainly an option for you. Okay, now back to our regularly scheduled paper braiding. Just regular braiding I could do, even though I couldn't do French braiding. And when I was a kid, I was a 4-H kid. I grew up, as I know I've mentioned, in Nebraska, and we had uh, our 4-H activities every summer. I don't hear much about 4-H these days. If you're a Midwesterner, do you still have 4-H? Oh, I loved 4-H. It was where I learned to sew. I mean, my mom taught me to sew, but it was as part of 4-H projects in the summer. But my favorite part of 4-H was the agricultural side of 4-H, and we raised cattle and took cattle to the county fair every year, our calves, and wash them with scented shampoo and everything. And I would fluff up their tails before they were judged at the county fair, and braid. I used to braid the hair or their tails, and oh, I loved that. My dad used to laugh and laugh because uh, I would want to play hairdresser with with the tails of my cattle, but he was proud too. I still have some of my old cattle trophies from 4-H. I don't know what made me think of that. I guess just the whole idea of braiding. Okay, so I've reached the end, and you can end whenever you want to, but I'm gonna trim this off. And I'm just keeping it in this pointy, with its pointy endness because, I don't know, I could have just trimmed it off perfectly straight as well, but it starts with a point, and so I'm ending it with a point. I'm going to add in a little bit where it's really sticking up, but here is an idea I had for another way to encase these and keep them, because if you were to use this by itself as a belly band, not only would it be too thin, but everything would be catching. So here's another idea I had. I took one of my window envelopes, junk mail envelopes. And I opened it up and I put a little bit of paper here to have it be behind the window because I didn't know what I was going to use it for. Well, I had it in my stash. Just put a paper scrap here to cover up the branding. I thought, what if I put one of these braids in here, and it would become not a pocket, but it would be nice and flat enough that you could use it for a tag. I think I like that. I think that is kind of nice. Now let me go in and see how, yeah, because I want to glue it down here on the back. I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. It looks like, actually I'm going to, yeah, so that fills the entire window. So I wouldn't have needed to put this backing on there because I'm blocking out that window anyway. But that's okay. It was there to begin with. Where's my pencil? There we go. I'm going to put my glue down just this side of that line. I could use my art glitter glue, but I think I can get by just with my glue stick here. I'm liking my Oohoo glue sticks better these days. You probably remembered I had a very uneasy getting used to process when I first brought them into the house. Okay, make certain I don't have it bent too much out of shape. So that's secured. Yeah, it is showing there just a little bit. Oh, I hope I haven't destroyed it. Oh. I think that's a little bit better placement. Yep, that'll do. That'll do. Ooh, that was exciting. Okay, that is going to be a nice little piece. And I'm gonna trim this off just inside that edge. And I'm going to be fairly generous, I think, with my glue here. I want to not glue on that window, of course. I'll glue here with that art glitter glue, and then I'm just going to use my glue stick for this other section. And I think this could make a really nice tag. That's another nice thing about these. They are flat. You're not going to have a whole lot of bumpetiness. It is the official junk journal term, bumpetiness. And glue the bottom. And I'm just going to glue this down. I won't bother to put a backing on it while you're here because you know how to put backing on tags. You don't need to be spending your precious YouTube moments, your screen time, as my grandson refers to it. You don't need to be spending your screen time seeing me back a tag. There we go. I think I am going to take it over the finish line on the front because it's a little blank up there, but I love that braid showing through. It makes just a nice little embellishment. So let me cut this into a tag shape. Just a simple junk mail envelope that can do so much good in our journals. We can write about whatever we wish on the back. And that, guys, you know, once you write in a journal, that's when it's complete. It's fun to make the tags. It's fun to make the cards. It's fun to do all the embellishments. But what makes a journal complete is when you write on it and in it. But you can see it is looking a bit like a tag, isn't it? Because it is one. I didn't plan this far ahead on what I could do with that stuff. Maybe some stamping. Maybe I can, you know, these maps, the maps themselves don't show a whole lot, but maybe I could cut this little postage stamp printout. That could go up here. And maybe I'll do a little stamping. I think yeah, here's my stamps with my postmarks. There's one. There's another. Excuse me, just hit my microphone there. That probably gave you a little bit of static. That green kind of picks up this. Yeah, I guess, oh, I like this one better. Not that it really matters. I've got some gray here, so let's just try that. A lot of my inks are not being very inky lately. I think they're getting older. That's not too bad. I've got a little bit of a ghostly area. Let me do this postage paid. And let's choose a little bit of a different color and maybe choose airmail here. Airmail used to be a big, huge thing. Remember, you used to have to buy special envelopes, those little red, white, and blue envelopes that, you know, and buy special airmail stamps that were so expensive. Gosh, if they saw, not expensive at all compared to how expensive mail is now, but it's sticking out. And let's do one more airmail down here. Sometimes it would be stamped multiple times. There we go. Good. I'll put in a pull, a ribbon or something up here. But that does it for this, guys. There is that little braided embellishment. And here is the one that we did earlier that we used as an embellished pocket. Here's one very similar to the first one that I did when I was practicing. And then this one that I think is flat enough to go on its own because it's out of the heavier paper. That's it, guys. Have fun braiding paper. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.